Well, as if we needed another reason to indulge occasionally in some luscious dark chocolate, a new study in Circulation, a journal of the American Heart Association, found that middle-aged and older Swedish women who regularly ate small amounts of chocolate lowered their risk of developing heart failure. But small amounts are the operative words. Here to share rules for benefiting from chocolate without overdoing it is our resident food coach and registered dietitian, Cynthia Sath.
Hello.
Cynthia, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Why don't you first tell us about this new Swedish study.
Okay, well, they tracked 32,000 women for 9 years, and what they found was the women who indulged in 1 to 2 servings of chocolate once or twice a week had a 32% lower risk of developing heart failure. That's pretty significant. Unfortunately, those who indulged every day saw no benefit. So
that's a big difference.
Yeah, and the researchers think the reason why that is because the chocolate provided more calories and may have squeezed out other nutritious foods. So it's all about creating a balance.
So again, 1 or 2 servings.
Once or twice a week.
Once or twice a week.
Had the best benefit.
Not every day,
right,
or you cancel the benefit.
However, in this study, the serving size was 1 ounce. So if they were having 1 to 2 ounces a day, that's having 140 to 280 calories worth of chocolate a day, which is a little bit too much. So you could have chocolate every day if you had smaller amounts, probably less than 1 ounce a day.
Okay.
But if you're going to have 1 ounce, which it's really hard sometimes to have less than that amount, you want to stick to about a couple times a week.
Okay, so you've got some really good rules sort of to live by so that we can incorporate chocolate without sort of going overboard.
Absolutely.
And one of your first tips is to make sure you incorporate chocolate into an overall healthy diet.
Yes, so what I mean by that is chocolate is very beneficial. It's very heart healthy. It has antioxidants that help relax blood vessels to open up circulation, and that's part of why it helps cut this risk of heart failure. Unfortunately, it doesn't cancel out that cheeseburger, fries, and soda that we know are. So it's not true that you can go ahead and eat whatever you want as long as you have that chocolate a couple times a week. So an overall heart-healthy diet is one that's, of course, loaded with plenty of fruits and vegetables, whole grains instead of refined grains. So we're looking at things like wild rice, brown rice, whole wheat pasta instead of white bread. We want to limit the animal-based fats like butter and have more plant-based fats like extra virgin olive oil and avocado, more nuts and beans in our diet and fish-based meals, and then definitely watching those sweets, really, really restricting the fried foods and the processed foods.
Okay.
So if you're doing that and you're adding chocolate to it, then you're really getting a synergistic effect of all of those things.
But
that's
it
what we
will
want.
not cancel out the cheeseburger.
That's right, unfortunately.
Okay. Now, your second rule is portion control.
This
so
is
you
a
have,
tough one.
You have some portions for us to look at. You said the study was 1 ounce. So how much is 1 ounce? And
this is 1 ounce right here.
Okay.
So you can see that it's maybe the size of a couple of matchbooks, but of course it depends a little bit on the thickness.
That's quite a lot, actually.
I think it's pretty generous,
Yeah.
actually. And like I said, that's about 140 calories. Now the tricky thing is that most standard bars out there in the market are 3 ounces, which is what this is.
Yeah.
So if you buy a bar like this, you want to have about 1/3 of it or less. Or you can also buy now 1 ounce bars. And you can even buy little squares that are less than 1 ounce. Some of them are about 1/2 ounce. So you could have a few of those maybe. So the key is if you buy a larger bar, maybe break it up and put it into, kind of pre-portioned amounts if you feel like you might have trouble stopping at that 1 ounce. Or combine that 1 ounce with something like fruit. Now, if you had these 1 cup of sliced strawberries with 1 ounce of melted chocolate drizzled on top, that would be a really nice combination and would give you a much larger portion.
Okay, and then you could do your couple times a week. That actually sounds like a lovely recipe.
Yeah.
The next tip you have is to make sure you really look at the cocoa content.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
This study was done in Europe where the cocoa content tends to be much higher there. So the percent cocoa is what we're talking about. So you really want to look for at least 70% dark, or sometimes it'll say percent cocoa. Now that's going to give you more actual pureed or powdered cocoa beans and less of something else like milk, and that means you're going to get more of those rich antioxidants and more minerals, and that's what really goes to work in the body to protect your arteries and really lower your risk for heart disease.
Okay, and that also usually means less sort of other stuff. It means like less milk fat, I imagine, and bad stuff.
Yes, you'll see some bars, the higher the percent dark, generally sometimes the only ingredients are cocoa beans, maybe vanilla, and a little tiny bit of sugar, and that's all the bar has. Now, the higher the cocoa content, the more bitter it is. So if you don't like a bitter chocolate, you can pair it with fruit, and that's another great way to give you that extra sweetness that you would be getting in, let's say, a milk chocolate bar.
That's a great idea, because it is sometimes too bitter for people. Your other tip is to use it in place of other sweets, other desserts.
Yes. Now, you don't want to just add chocolate to what you're already eating and not take anything else away, because then you're just adding excess calories, and of course, that can lead to weight gain even if it's from a healthy food like dark chocolate. So I have some calorie comparisons here. If you had 1 cup of sliced strawberries with the 1 ounce of melted chocolate on it, that's a little under 200 calories. It's about 190. In comparison, just a half a cup, which is 1/4 of this pint of chocolate ice cream, is 250.
1/4 of this pint is 250?
Yes.
Wow.
And of course, this is much heart healthier than that as well. This candy bar is 280, and this brownie is just over 300. So you can see that you can go from about under 200 to over 300.
I'm going to show you a trick. What if I just went like if I just did like this much?
Yeah, if you can stop at that, that would definitely be a way to go. Maybe
portion control.
That's
you saw
right.
The portion control.
Maybe cut that brownie into 4 and have it amongst 4 people. Put some strawberries with it. Go with the dark chocolate brownie, and that would be all right.
That was actually delicious.
I can imagine. Imagine your baby really liked it too.
Yeah, I think the baby's going to be a chocolate lover for sure. Thank you so much, Cynthia Sass. And don't forget, you can follow ABC News Now on Facebook and Twitter. Just search ABC News Now.